With women, there are certain things that we wear that men do not.
Right.
You know, so if people are building technology in that space, in that fashion space, who better to provide a perspective than a woman?
true.
You know, we think about our purses, we think about our watches, we think about maybe a necklace,
Yeah.
you know. So I think there absolutely should be a balance across the board, more so for perspective.
Hi everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Business Sense with Aramide. Today we have an amazing guest with us, but before I go into that, I just want to talk a little bit about the topic as usual. So today we're going to be talking about women in technology. As you know, there's been so much talk about it, there's a lot of activity, even in Africa now. There's opportunities, there's programs, training, grants, scholarships. So I felt it would be good to have someone who's an expert in the tech women's field. And today we're going to have Jumoke Dada, who is the founder of Tech Women Network, with us. So hi Jumoke.
Hello, Aramide, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you too for making time to be with us today. I was going to say, why don't we start with what you do? Tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, and what the Tech Women Network is about.
Sure. So I am a technologist, meaning I'm someone that went to school and studied computer science and started coding, etc. So I'm a technologist and I consult. I'm also an entrepreneur, so I'm a bit of a hybrid. And as an entrepreneur, I create tools and resources for women that are interested in careers in technology.
Okay, nice, very cool. And what does the Tech Women Network do?
Sure. So one of the tools that I created is the Tech Women Network, and essentially what it is an online searchable platform for women with technical skills.
Nice.
It's a community where women can join and connect to other women to work on projects, also to showcase their skills. I spotlight these women and just encourage them through events and workshops to just showcase their skills, start their own business, or to work together on projects.
Very cool. That's very interesting. So does that apply to women around the world, or is it a particular region that you focus on?
Sure. I'm based in the States, but it is actually global. We do have
Nice.
some women that have joined from the UK and Nigeria.
Okay, excellent. So we'll be sure to have quite a few women join once you give us your web address and community details. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I have another question. So there's a lot of buzz, as you know, around women in technology and getting more women into tech.
Yeah.
Do we really need more women in tech, and why?
Absolutely. I think with any industry, there should be a balance of perspectives, you know. Just because women, we see things differently, we have different experiences, and if, like, as a simple example, wearable technology is very big, right? So with women, there are certain things that we wear that men do not.
Right.
You know, so if people are building technology in that space, in that fashion space, who better to provide a perspective than a woman?
That's true.
You know, we think about our purses, we think about our watches, we think about maybe a necklace,
Yeah.
you know. So I think there absolutely should be a balance across the board, more so for perspective.
Thank you. I remember we had, in the previous weeks, we had a guest who talked about women and the fact that they give a very, they give a diverse view, a balanced view. You know, they're more empathetic. So there are things that they can bring, and it's true. You make a very good point. You spoke about wearable technology as well. That's not something that I've heard of too often. I think I've come across it online.
Okay.
So do you want to share anything just for the purposes of those who don't know, because I don't really know what it is?
Sure. So wearable technology, you can think of something like there's a company that built a phone, a watch, a special watch. So that would be something that's considered a wearable technology. That allows you to access your same applications you would have on your phone, but you're wearing the product. There are also devices you can clip on for safety.
Right.
There are devices, even as simple as like a headphone, you know. There are necklaces that you can wear that can record. You know, things like that would be considered wearable technology.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
enlightening us further.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, so I have a few more questions.
Sure.
I was going to say, we all know that there's the fourth industrial revolution. We're pretty much there, or it's, I mean, like, we're here.
Yeah.
And everything in the Western world is technology enabled. You know, like, we call it the Western world, but you know what I mean. Like, you know, developed countries, pretty much everything. Every sector uses technology now for solutions, for the greater good, also for the negatives as well. So the fact that the world is going in that direction, and then we have Africa, right, where we have all these challenges, even like the basic things like education and infrastructure are still there. Should we be mindful and concerned about the fact that the world is going in that direction, and we may need to leapfrog, or we need to just, like, what is your view generally?
So should we be concerned as Africans? Yes. I think it basically comes down to making technology and the educating of Africans to compete in this global technology world that we're in, making it more of a priority.
Right.
Now, I understand that there are definitely, you know, some issues with infrastructure. There are basics that are still not in place with education, recycling, and things like that. But regardless of that, the world is still moving forward, whether we have our act together or not. So with that, there should be more of a priority placed on education in the technology space. What's very interesting is that, you know, abroad and here, but abroad, Nigerians are thriving in like STEM fields. I mean, Nigerians are leaders in technology and engineering, in medicine. We are thriving, so we have the ability to really grasp very complex things and learn it and master it, right? So that just speaks to the potential that exists here with our youth. Our youth have the ability to learn, to code. You know, when people are thinking of employing people abroad overseas, I don't think they think of Africa. I think they think of, you know, other continents, but Africa should be able to compete. You know, Nigerians should be able to compete because it's been shown and it's proven time and time again that if you put a book in front of a Nigerian person and they have to learn it, they will learn it and they will master it. So in the technology space, it's just a matter of exposing the, you know, the youth and you know, young professionals to what opportunities exist in technology. And I think we will grasp it quickly and we will be able to catch up.
Okay, that's optimistic, and I like that. You know, I think there's so many challenges and negatives. We can keep focusing on them, but I think the key thing is focusing on what can be done. Right. And I know you mentioned exposing youth. So we're going to come to that in a few minutes. Tech. There's so many buzzwords. That even scares people in general. Even women, you know, and sometimes they're like, oh, technology is not for me. So let's start with demystifying some things and looking at some key terms. So can you help us with a few definitions? Sure. Can you tell us what AI is in your own words?
Sure. And even before I define, you know, like I know you just mentioned for women, sometimes they think of it as something that's so, you know, maybe complex, but I think people need to just really start paying attention to what it is that's around them every day. Like, we use our cell phones, we use vending machines, we use cash registers. All of that is technology, right? So that's a good, so, you know, you mentioned artificial intelligence. It's basically a way for a computer to think and learn. It's teaching computers how to perform human tasks. Like, I just made an example of a cashier. So now there are places where you don't even need someone behind the register. You can just go put your item on the counter and it will do the calculation for you. So that's an example of artificial intelligence. Or maybe when you wash your hands and then, you know, the water comes out automatically. Like, it's, as opposed to having to turn it on, now it comes out, it knows, it senses that there's an object there, spouts water. So those are examples.
Okay, so that's interesting. So how about, like, you know, when now you have WhatsApp for business, and so when you message a company, there's an automated response that you get. You know how a company may have a WhatsApp number and then you send a message and then you get an auto response. Is that AI? Is that artificial intelligence?
It's a form of communications. And like there are like apps that that allow you to like translate
Okay.
a language. You know, that's a translation app.
Okay,
So yeah.
okay, that's AI also. Okay, great. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
How about VR, so virtual reality?
Okay. So virtual reality is essentially it's like a simulated reality, right? So it's a 3D simulation of an image or an environment. So if you I think the simplest way to think, if you think of like video games, right?
Yes.
When someone's playing in a video game, it's like they can't even hear anyone around them because they're so immersed in this thing that's happening. But it's if you are using like a VR helmet or something, there's no distractions around you. So it's as if you're really in that world. Like you've stepped out of this current reality and you are in this space filled with flowers and mushrooms and things like that.
Interesting.
And the main senses that you're using at that time is sight and hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. That's very good to know. I'll definitely research more. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a bit about it, but again, I haven't really like delved in. So thank you for that. Then there's IoT, Internet of Things.
Okay. So Internet of Things is essentially the connectivity of devices that can sense and send data. And again, like I said earlier, it's all around us, you know, all of these technologies, like for example, a security system, right, in a home, that is essentially IoT because it's monitoring what's going on around the house. It's sending that information back somewhere,
Okay.
you know, or if you have, you know, there are devices that you can speak to it in your home and it will know to retrieve the song that you're requesting and play it. So that's IoT. It's like connecting devices and sending data and bringing it back.
And bringing it back. Interesting. Okay. I like the way you've broken that down because it can be a bit confusing just in general.
Right, and I think people don't realize how much they already know, or they
Using
just
stuff.
maybe are not making a connection that, oh, that's what it is,
Yeah.
you know?
So I think that's what it is, where we already use this stuff, but we don't kind of just connect the dots.
Yep.
Okay, so final definition,
Yep.
blockchain.
Oh, so blockchain is big. Essentially, it's a digital ledger. So it records transactions, but on several different computers. So there's something called cryptocurrency, like
Right,
there's Bitcoin and some other ones. So anytime a transaction is made, the blockchain it records that something has been done, a transaction has been done.
Okay. So why is that different from regular technology? Like,
I think it has to do more with the distribution of the transactions and how it's stored.
I see. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
Okay, and then final question. So we spoke about exposing our youth to technology as ways to be able to catch up with the rest of the world. I mean, we're not there yet, but what are the ways you think we can get more youth and even girls into STEM programs, which is, for the purposes of those who don't know, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and maths. So what are the ways you think, you know, especially in Africa right now, like simple ways we can begin to include people and onboard and expose them into these programs, onto these programs?
Well, okay, so the programs need to exist, and if they don't exist, they need to be created, right? And I think that it's kind of like it's all starting. The issue is that they don't have a lot of mentors. I think it comes down, the core thing is going to be the education.
Okay.
They're going to need someone to show them how to, outside of school, right? Outside of normal school, show them how to thrive in a STEM field. So honestly, it takes people like myself, you know, to kind of come back and teach and share what I know. It's going to take mentoring. They have to be able to see someone that's already doing what they want to do.
That's true.
They have to see it, you know, feel, touch it, because that's how you know what to aspire to. You know, and sometimes what you aspire to, maybe it doesn't exist, you know. Sometimes that individual are going to be the creator of something amazing, right? But I think, you know, just, you know, in simple form, they need mentors. They need people that are working in STEM fields to take them make the time to take them under the wing and show them, you know, how to thrive, show them career options.
Right.
You know, someone may not even be thinking about, becoming an astronaut. You know, they may not even have that thought that that's something that they can do, or fly a plane, or things like that. So it really takes for those that have done it to come back and show them that it can be done. And also the country as a whole has to make it a priority to want their youth to learn these things. You know, like we talked about infrastructure, you know, there's roads, there's bridges, there's so many things that need to be built that require the skill set that it takes to thrive in a STEM field. Like, it's logic, you know, it's logic and putting things together. So ultimately, mentorship and initiation. So someone has to take the initiative to create these programs,
Right.
and then they have to have the support to sustain the program.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very phenomenal. So you mentioned mentoring, you mentioned creating in some cases when those things aren't there.
Yep.
You mentioned, and then getting support from the broader, I suppose, the government and other stakeholders, right? And it's true, because right now we have a few things like STEM camps, or STEM training for kids, coding boot camps, even, at least in Nigeria. But like you say, we can do more.
Yep.
There's a lot of people in, not even only women, so even men can begin to sort of get involved and expose these youth, because there's one thing to read, there's one thing to watch things on TV, but then I think it's more powerful, like you say, when you have a mentor who's showing you and exposing you these things, right?
And they have to have an opportunity to continue to use those skills, because if you don't use it, it's just gonna go, right? So there has to be some jobs. There has to be a way for them to apply what they're learning. You know, let them, you know, if you guys, you know, if there's things that need to be built here or that require engineering skills, have a, you know, bring a child to work day, you know, and just let them for 1 week. It can be a national program. Like, this is the day where we're going to teach our youth how to build a railroad track, how to build a computer. Like, let's really be intentional about making the time to show these kids how to do it so that they can sustain our infrastructure.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you come back
Yes,
to Nigeria.
I will.
Because we need more people like you, given that you have that exposure as well. And then when you come here, you'll be able to know what works and what doesn't. So that would be awesome and excellent.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for making time again to be on the show. It's been a wonderful time, very engaging. She took us through a whole array of definitions of things that was pretty awesome. So thank you, Jumoke. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned for our next episode. I won't tell you what that is. Just look forward to it. Thank you.